couldn't find 300,000 of them, approximately. Under President Trump's leadership, we have located over 62,000 children that the last administration weren't even looking for. Again, promises made, promises kept. And we're going to continue running down every lead of every child, and when we finish all those leads, we'll go back and do it all over again. As long as President Trump's in the Oval Office, we will never stop looking for these children. Now, I want to be clear. The 62,000 children were found. Some were perfectly safe with their families. They're just hiding out, didn't want to be deported, whatever. But many were in sex trafficking and forced labor. One's too many. So President Trump saved thousands of these children's lives and their futures. Secure border is saving thousands of lives every year. Under the last administration, over 4,000 aliens died making that journey. With a secure border, lives are being saved every day. Sex trafficking has plummeted. Fentanyl has plummeted. No inspected terrorists coming across borders plummeted. A secure border means stronger national security. But most importantly, it means saving lives. Saving aliens' lives and saving Americans' lives. I want to end one more thing before I turn it over to Rodney Scott. The attacks on the men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE are disgusting. These men and women put their lives on the line every day for this country to remove the worst of the worst. One of the reasons we have the most secure border in the nation right now, in addition to President Trump's leadership, Commissioner Rodney Scott, and the men and women wearing green and tan and blue, is because of what ICE is doing in the interior. The Trump administration has sent a clear message. We are going to enforce immigration law without apology. That message is sent throughout the world, which means the most vulnerable people in the world are not going to give their life savings to a criminal cartel to come to a country where they know they won't be released. That alone is saving thousands of lives. Children aren't drowning in the river. Women ain't being raped by the cartels. And again, less drugs means more lives saved. President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month, and that's just a stone cold fact. I'm honored to be here with Rodney Scott, who's not only a friend. Together, we got over 70 years, 70, on border security, national security, immigration enforcement. I couldn't be prouder standing next to a champion like Rodney Scott, who is well respected by every one of these people wearing this uniform. Rodney Scott, you, go ahead.
It's my honor to be back in sunny San Diego, even if it's not quite as sunny today as we're used to. I did want to thank Tom, and I want to highlight for everybody, this is where Tom started his career. This is where I started my career. But also, this is where the strategy that President Trump endorsed for border security really started and was proven out. So I thought it was a very fitting place to come out and talk about the successes we've had over the last year. And Tom highlighted it, but this is, and I think you could ask anybody that's actually done this job that's a border security professional, we're currently experiencing the most secure border this nation has ever seen. We're at 92% identifying illegal entries, 92% lower than the peaks during the Biden administration. But let me put that into context for you a little bit more. In an hour and a half during the Biden administration, we caught more people than we're catching and seeing across the border illegally in a 24-hour period now. But why did we see that reduction? I want to be very clear, based on my professional experience, why are we seeing that reduction? We're seeing that reduction because President Trump came in and implemented policies and provided top cover for the men and women of CBP and ICE and other agencies doing border security to literally shut down the draw. What was the first thing we did was we made sure that we kept people in custody and throughout their process until they were properly adjudicated. If they were subject to it, if they were immediately illegal entering, they were subject to ER. But the thing is, we ended catch and release. And that was a huge draw, people being released into the United States. We are prosecuting people for illegally entering the United States today at an unprecedented level. We are prosecuting everything we can. If you assault a Border Patrol agent, a CBP officer, an ICE agent, we're going to prosecute you. If you lie to a Border Patrol agent or any federal official, we're going to prosecute you. We're literally just enforcing the laws that were already on the books. We're making sure that there are consequences in place. I want to highlight, this is not just CBP. I'm here representing CBP, but President Trump sent a clear message to his entire administration that border security is important, and you're all going to be on board. So both Tom and I participate in a call like 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. And I can tell you this government, the entire federal government, is united in a way I've never seen my entire career, focused on one thing: putting Americans first and making sure that we simply know and control who we're allowing into our home. Because I want to remind all of you, why does this really matter? Border security is national security. Sometimes I think people overly complicate this, but you need to think of it as simply just like your home. If you cannot identify and control and know who and what goes into your personal home, you have no personal security. And as a nation, if we can't identify people entering our home and then decide, make conscious decisions based on laws that are put in place by Congress, who and what we're going to allow into our home, any conversation about security is a fraud. Customs and Border Protection, ICE, under the leadership and guidance and support of President Trump, is making sure that we simply can know first and foremost, and that's what a lot of this infrastructure around you is for. We can positively know anything and anyone coming into this country, and then we can make conscious decisions consistent with federal law on who we allow into our home. Because at the end of the day, it is our home. And we're talking about who are we letting next to our children? Who are we letting next to our families? What products are we allowing into the United States? The other piece of this is we slowed down this flow. What did that really mean to America? That meant we put Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, CBP officers back to doing the enforcement functions that you as Americans hired them to do, instead of administratively processing fraudulent immigration claims. I want to give you an example. Just at our ports of entry alone, by shutting down the fraud, we were able to take approximately 16,000 man-hours, 16,000 hours, and put them back on enforcement duties at the ports of entry. What does that really mean? That means we're interviewing people that are coming to the United States. We're asking them questions we didn't have time to ask before. We're looking in cargo trucks. We're looking at trains. We're looking at ships. We're looking at containers. We're making a conscious decision to know who and what comes into this country consistent with law. And that's just the ports of entry. In between the ports of entry, Tom talked about the unaccompanied alien children and the exploitation. Under the massive crisis that Biden intentionally created, where we had flows of people that we literally had no time to talk to anybody, it was just processing people through, we had no idea what we were dealing with. Today, every single unaccompanied child that comes across that border is getting a good face-to-face debrief, an interview, if you will. We're carving out we call them children, but the teenagers that are gang members that are actually working for the cartel, bringing